Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great honor to introduce Dr. David Axelrod, our distinguished guest and keynote speaker.
Thank you so much, Father Holtschneider, Provost Depp, Dean Miller, Dean Taylor, faculty, family, friends, and most important, the class of 2009. As I was driving out here this morning, I had some sympathy for you when I realized that this graduation was 8 o'clock in the morning on the Sunday before the last Saturday on graduation weekend. So I'm glad to see you all looking so hale and hearty today. Dean Taylor pointed out maybe the end of the evening for some of you, so. It's great to be home in Illinois and the world's greatest city. I meant Chicago, not Rosemont, so. For me, this is even more of a homecoming than you realize. You see, when I graduated from college, one of the first things I did was buy season's tickets to Blue Demon basketball. And just to show you how old I was, DePaul was a national powerhouse then. So, but it isn't the basketball tradition that drew me here today. It's the long, rich tradition of DePaul as the gateway for so many young people from the city of Chicago and beyond. DePaul is one of Chicago's great treasures, and I am so proud to be associated with it and with all of you, and to be able to say, at least today, I am DePaul. So. And I'm frankly humbled to be invited to participate in what I know is such an important moment in the lives of all the graduates, parents, and loved ones who are here today. I admit I feel a little bit like an intruder in a very personal occasion, but I do have a fresh appreciation for what a big day this is, because just a few weeks ago, my youngest son, Ethan, graduated from college, and I was sitting where many of you are sitting, you parents are sitting today, and I asked myself the same question you're probably asking yourselves right now, which is, how in the world did this guy get chosen to be our commencement speaker? Actually, the question that I was asking, and the one I suspect you're asking as I watched my son receive his diploma, was, where did the time go? Where did the time go? When did this little boy I carried on my shoulders grow up? Wasn't it just yesterday that we dropped him off for freshman orientation, a wide-eyed, anxious kid? Who's this confident young man striding across the stage? And believe me, in the interim between the moment that Ethan Axelrod took that fateful walk and the moment hours later when one Matt Zussman with a Z took his to a thunderous ovation from a grateful and exhausted crowd, I had a lot of time to think about this. Later that day, we returned to the campus, only this time it was perfectly still. The band had packed up, the banners and tents were gone. As my son surveyed the empty yard, I saw in his face the first hard recognition that this wonderful chapter in his life was over, and another uncertain chapter was about to begin. And that left all of us asking another question: what's next? And I know that when you leave here today with your newly minted degrees and memories of friendships and experiences you'll cherish for a lifetime, of days in the classroom and nights in the library, or maybe McGee's, many of you and your parents will be asking the same question. It's only natural, it's the right question to ask. What's next? I know some of you already have made your plans. Perhaps you'll begin your career in communications, where great change is happening and new vistas are appearing every single day. Or maybe you'll pursue your education to the next level. Whatever it is, go for it. Good for you. But I'm also sure that many of you are still thinking, still searching, still wondering what that next chapter might be. You're probably getting a lot of advice to find a job that pays well or lends some sense of stability, and in uncertain times, that's understandable and tempting. You may be feeling a little bit of pressure and anxiety, as if you're somehow falling behind. Each day you wait to plot out your entire life. So here's my advice: don't. Don't succumb to the pull of the practical only to defer the pursuit of the possible. Don't try to discern where you'll be 30 years from now, because there's no way to know. At this moment, as you march out of this arena into your future, you are as mobile and as unfettered and as free as you will ever be to pursue your passions and chase your dreams. And I'm here to tell you that is the truest path to happiness and success. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. That's easy for you to say, man. You work for the President of the United States. And that's true, I work for the President. But I assure you that the day that I walked across that stage at graduation 1,000,000 years ago, the last thing I imagined was that I'd be walking to an office every day 20 feet from the President. I didn't have any connections or money. My father had passed away. When I was young, I was on my own. I had no plan that would lead me to this point. What I did have, though, was a passionate interest and a determination to pursue it. So for whatever it's worth, I'd like to share with you the benefit of my own experience. Now, I have to admit I was a bit of a geek growing up. Even as a kid, I was fascinated by politics and the press. So naturally, when it came time for college, I chose Chicago because it was an exciting and vibrant place, crackling with colorful characters and political intrigue. But I quickly learned that when they talked about politics at the University of Chicago, it was generally about Caesar's Rome or Napoleon's France, and not Richard J. Daley's Chicago machine. So by the summer of my freshman year, I was restless and determined to be a newspaper man. In those days, superb reporting played a historic role in uncovering the truth, shining a bright light on events like Vietnam and Watergate and the social turbulence of the time. Journalists helped save the Republic, and I wanted to be a part of it. So I pounded the door of dozens of outlets begging for work. There was no place too small or too insignificant. I never asked how much I was going to be paid or how many hours I'd have to work. I just wanted a chance. I talked my way into jobs with a couple of small community newspapers that were as desperate for help as I was for experience. And to tell you the truth, I spent more time chasing stories about Chicago politics than studying, as my professors would attest. I actually suspect, Father, that that degree they gave me when I was crossing the stage was an honorary degree as well. You know that old dream where you're suddenly taking a final and you panic because you never attended the class? I'm here to tell you I lived my dreams.